Come and dream with me.
Hello, welcome to What Do You Want to Watch, the Explosion Network's premier media podcast. Every fortnight, we get together to talk about movies, TV, and online content, and help you answer the question, what would a Fast and Furious music be called? I haven't got one. Let me know on Twitter what you think it should be called. I'm your host, Ashley Hobley. Joining me today, Dylan Blight.
I want it to happen, but I don't know what it would be called. Imagine how happy Vin Diesel will look on stage. Just, you know.
Oh, you're thinking about it actually on stage. I was thinking just a Fast and Furious movie.
No.
That's
it's on
musical.
stage. It's on stage. Vin Diesel's doing it, and he's singing and dancing and having the best time of his life. In case people don't know, Vin Diesel released a song, so he will do it.
Well, apparently, so this is all around. Apparently, Kelly Clarkson had him on the show and asked him about his interest in doing a Fast and Furious musical, because that seems like a normal question to ask somebody. And he was very much on board, because apparently he was meant to do Guys and Dolls with Steven Spielberg a few years back, but that project fell through. So, and yes, like you said, he's trying to get into music. So, you know, he's trying to get that EGOT. That's what he's doing.
I mean,
Emmy, Grammy, Tony.
Yeah, okay.
And then Game Award.
For Arc 2, yeah.
So we got a big episode this week. We'll be talking about what's in our watch history. We'll be covering some news. We'll be giving some thumbs to trailers, and we'll be discussing our top 3 for this week. But first, a bit of self-promotion. Speaking of Vin Diesel, Fast and Furious 9 came out the day before the last episode came out. Again, a long time ago. If you want to know our full thoughts on Fast and Furious 9, and you've watched the movie, go listen to our epic finale of It's About Family. You can find it over at explosion.com. We talked about the movie for like an hour and a half, something like that. Almost 2 hours. It was a very long period of time. We discussed anything.
Not the longest spoiler cast we've ever done, but yeah.
No, yes, it was long. But yeah, you get your full fill there. But for non-spoilery people, what did you think of Fast and Furious 9?
Yeah, I loved it. Of course. Come on. It was everything I wanted. It was everything I'd been looking for on the big screen. It was everything I'd been looking for out of the movie. Is it the best movie ever? No. None of these movies are. Doesn't matter. I don't care. Great fun. Stupid. People in the car bonnets. They protect you. There's explosions. There's one-liners. Tyrese Gibson gets a lot of time in this one for some reason. And somehow survives being shot like a billion times. Doesn't matter. It's fine. Cameos. There's people. Cardi B's in it. Big Cardi B. And then she's there. There's just John Cena's in it. And, you know, there's ups and downs. But most importantly, Han's back in
There's
it.
ups.
Hashtag Justice for Han. There's the big up. Justin Lin's back in the director's seat. Does a fantastic job. I think he's underrated as an action director, of course. Yeah, really liked it. Of course, it's dumb fucking fun. Here's the thing: at 9 movies, we're not selling these movies to people who aren't watching them. I feel it's like you're either on the board at this point or you're not. So for people, no one's like looking at a review. I was thinking about this the other day. No one's looking at a review for Fast and Furious 9 and going, I might start now. You know what I mean? Like, it's just. And if you don't like them at this point and you do the whole like, oh, I wish it was about car racing, duh. The films were never about car racing. They were actually about like the FBI trying to infiltrate gangs. Well, no, I mean like it was a rip-off of Point Break, which is why Buddy always gets shitty about it. But it was never about street racing. That was the
setting.
The thing. Like it was a setting. The movie was actually about cops trying to infiltrate a street racing gang. It wasn't about street racing gangs. Anyway. If you're one of those people, street racing, hey, just shut the fuck up. People will like these movies. Sit back. Shush.
Spoilers. You've got street racing in this.
There is street racing in this. That's true. So, yeah.
It's pleasing for everybody.
Good movie.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it as well. You can check out my review of the film over on explosion.com. I think, like you said, if you're a fan of these films, you're going to love this. If you're not a fan of these films, then why are you watching this movie? You're just setting her up for disappointment. This is not the movie that's going to change your mind about the franchise. It's the most outlandish, crazy version of this series we've had so far.
Like, if you haven't watched the trailer, they go to space. Like, come on.
Yeah. So, yeah, really enjoyed that. Another bit of self-promotion. Of course, around that same time, we also did a spoiler cast for Pixar's latest release that only appeared on Disney Plus, unfortunately, Luca. I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty good. I don't think it's my favorite Pixar film. I don't think it's like top tier Pixar. Obviously, it is a much smaller story. Obviously, the story of two kids who are trying to like enjoy life in this Italian harbor city, but they're secretly mer people. But yeah, beautifully animated. Really sweet, smaller film that I've seen a lot of love for, more love than we gave it for, and a lot more love than Dylan has for it.
To be fair, I've also seen some people say like similar thoughts that I had after we recorded that podcast. I've seen a few echo similar
But
thoughts.
mostly it's been the other way.
It's mostly been positive, but I do feel like I don't know if this is a hot take. I do feel that Disney, when it comes to animated movies, they get sort of a like if Luca was put out by DreamWorks, it would get judged a lot harsher than if it wasn't. If you know what I'm saying. Like, I do feel like people get swayed a little bit by that Disney thing, and if this was any other animation company, people would be a lot harsher on it than they are. So you may be like, no, that doesn't happen, but I think that is what happens. Yeah, so I didn't like it very much. I thought it was just a bit of a messy, boring film that was very paint by numbers, had a lot of cool ideas, but ultimately it's an enjoyable enough watch for the one time. But as far as honestly, this is one of those ones where I'm like, probably belonged on Disney Plus. Like, I just don't think it was.
Oof.
It's not up there in caliber for me. So yeah, I didn't like it very much. I'll just leave that instead of shitting on it because I shat on it a lot in the spoiler cast. So.
Did render me speechless. And then finally, Dylan, you've reviewed a film over at explosion.com. Tell us about A Family.
This is a very weird movie. So it's what fucking country is it? I forgot. Mental blank. Click on the review and tell me. Forgot. It's like the neighboring to Russia. The fuck. But yeah, it's about this family. It's about a guy who, as the movie starts, because this is a very weird movie. The movie starts and he's like recording people. He's like having a conversation with someone who he thinks his sister, but then you quickly realize it's actually someone just he's hired to pretend to be his sister. But then you're like, is this based upon his real sister? And has she like passed away? Or is he like making up a character to have this person play? And then like a couple scenes later, he's got like a full family there. He's hired someone to like they're not kidnapped. They're hired. Like
hired all these
he's
actors
hired,
in the Ukraine. Yeah,
that's it. Ukrainian. It's Ukraine. Yeah. So he's hired all these people to play his family, and that's kind of the setup of the movie. So you have these very odd scenes where he's literally handing out scripts to people, and they're filming these scenes together where they need to do things in a certain way. And the sort of dilemma comes in when the girl who's hired to play his sister, she begins sort of breaking character, and that upsets him. And then she, later in the movie, decides that she would like to try and do something similar of her own, take his idea more or less, which brings up some interesting directions and stuff to go. It's a very odd film. It's actually an Australian film. That's I went and watched like, the other day because I found it online. It was only like 15 minutes, so I watched the original one, and that is the dude did it in Australia. I think it's from Queensland or something. Short film, yeah. It's called A Family. Like it's the same concept, but obviously just like the core setup is the 15-minute short film. Just someone like filming a pretend family, and then obviously this is the feature expanded upon version of the. So that one's Australia, like within Australia. This one, when he decided to do a feature film version, he decided to take it to Ukraine. For I think it's on purpose because he wants the film he wanted to film it, I think, in a place that's just very desolate and lonely, and that adds to the sort of character. Whereas if he was filming this in Australia, like Like if he's filming this in Queensland, because I think he's from Queensland, I think if he was filming it there, obviously there's not really like wherever you film it, you're going to have that. You're not going to have the same vibe as you have. Like there's so many background shots of this, and the cinematography is quite good as well. Lots of just very still shots to sell these almost like portraits of desolate wasteland and loneliness. Like every character in this movie just is teetering on, I don't know, breaking down, or like they all just look like something horrible's happened to them, or, you know. So I think that's why they chose to take it to Ukraine, I would presume, because I was reading also they didn't speak the language, so then they purposely chose to film a movie in a language they can't speak, which is, you know, a brave and an interesting choice, if any. But yeah, it's quite an interesting film. I can't really talk too much about it without spoiling, but I think it's, you know, it's obviously exploring a lot of themes, be that around like loneliness and family and like what family is and what it means to you and all these sorts of things, and that's kind of the point of the movie. But yeah, it is an odd, weird film. It's also darkly funny. Like I think you're allowed to find a lot of the scenes funny, and they're supposed to be slightly funny, but of course it is that sort of dark, weird sort of humor. And if that works for you, it works for you. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So yeah, I thought that my one big negative is it's a bit too long. It's like it's not even that long. It's like a bit over 90 minutes, but I just felt like it would have been this movie. And I have this happen all the time. Anytime I watch a movie, I'm like, oh, that felt a bit too stretched out. And then you find out it was based on a short film. And it's like, well, that's why. Like, I feel like half the time it's like, we've got a cool idea and they stretch it out to a feature, but they just stretch it too far. It's like, just do the hour 20. Just like cut that, you know, 10, 15 minutes off. And that would have made a heap of difference here, I think. So, but yeah, it's still in cinemas around Australia if you can actually get out and you're not in lockdown, I think, in some places. So if you want to watch it.
Yeah. So yeah, in select cinemas, not the one that's currently got released on Netflix. It's like a Korean crime drama. Yeah. All right, I've got a bunch of different things to talk about. Let's kick things off with a new series that released on Disney Plus. It's called The Mysterious Benedict Society. So set in slightly offbeat world, in which 4 orphans get recruited into a mission to stop this event called the Emergency by this crazed, I guess, like benefactor called Mr. Benedict, Nicholas Benedict, played by Tony Hale. The first episode is very much this elaborate scheme to weed out the most suitable kids for this to get to put on this mission. This really cool, elaborate like testing sequence of all these little kids, led by the character we follow from the start is called Rainey Muldoon, who's an orphan. And you know, they're all very smart and like nice and that kind of stuff. I'm enjoying it. As they released the first 2 episodes of Disney Plus. First episode, like I said, they get full tested, bring the team together. Second episode, they get apparently. So the emergency is being orchestrated by these subliminal messages being sent out to people, causing paranoia and different things. So, you know, like Fox News does. It's pretty much, except like subliminal underneath other stuff, is causing people to panic and things like nobody's at the wheel and, you know, something terrible is about to happen. So these kids are sent to this special school to try and infiltrate the who's behind everything, that kind of thing. So, yeah, 2 episodes in, really liking it. I think 3 of the little kids are cool. I'm not sold on the third. There's this character, Constance, who very snarky, picks on all the other kids, but has this odd accent that is kind of, I don't know. Sometimes you hear some voices and it just rubs you the wrong way, you know?
What kind of
I don't know.
is it is it someone doing an accent? Is that what
yeah, that's what it sounds like.
What
Sounds
kind of
like
accent?
someone putting on an accent.
What ethnicity?
Not like like Austrian or something. I don't know. I have no idea. It just doesn't sound natural. Is all I'm going to say. But overall, I'm enjoying it. I'm getting very much Lemony Snicket Unfortunate Events vibes, except not as dark. So, you know, if that series was too dark and depressing for you, this might be something a little bit more up your alley. It's also got Kristen Schaal and a bunch of the adults in this are quite all quirky and interesting as well. Like Tony Hale's character just starts fainting all the time anytime he experiences joy. So as soon as he meets his kids and gets all excited, he just faints.
What's the age?
I would say,
show, right?
I'd say like 12 up. I feel like obviously it's based on a children's novel, but yeah, it's very much like obviously a kid focused show. But you know, I think there's enough there for people who enjoy that kind of stuff to enjoy. Going on a completely different tangent, also on Disney Plus, I've been watched the two seasons of the TV show Solar Opposites. So this is a TV show from Justin Roiland, who people would know from Rick and Morty. So Solar Opposites follows a family of aliens who have crash landed into Middle America after the destruction of their planet. There's two older aliens, and then one boy and one girl alien, and then a little baby alien called the Pooper, who their mission on Earth is to raise the pupa so it can eventually terraform the planet into what their planet used to be, and then
That's the plot of Man of Steel.
raise their civilization up again. Of course, they're not good at this job, so pretty much it's just them mucking around, having very much Rick and Morty-like adventures on Earth. You know, using their futuristic weapons and stuff. The two little kids go to school, and they all get picked on because they're aliens, and that kind of stuff. I'm really enjoying it. It's also got this weird subplot that the young boy alien at the start of the first season starts shrinking people and then putting it in almost like an alien, like an ant farm in his room. So then there's this sub-story of this civilization of humans inside this ant farm trying to survive that also takes over certain episodes throughout each of the seasons.
It's like
so
the locker. It's
subplot.
like that locker in Men in Black. You know the locker? Where they open the locker in Men in Black, and there's like that whole civilization inside the locker.
Yeah, sure.
Do you not remember that? Never seen? Have you seen Men in Black?
Yes, I've seen Men in Black. I don't.
Oh my god! Come on now.
But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I think obviously it definitely has Rick and Morty vibes. Maybe not as heady, I would say. Not trying to go for crazy spiritual kind of things at different times. And not inciting fans to assault McDonald's workers. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. 2 seasons, you get through it pretty easy. I think there's 8 episodes a season. It was aired on Hulu, so that's why it's on Disney Plus. But yeah, Solar Opposites. I'm really liking that. I've also watched the first 2 episodes of Rick and Morty. It's more Rick and Morty. It's you know what you're going to get at this point. Yeah, very good. All right, I'm switching over to another streaming platform. Mythic Quest finished up its season. Surprisingly, I'm tuning into episode 9. I'm what kind of hijinks are they getting up to this episode? Why does it feel like a finale? Oh, it is a finale. I didn't realize. Yeah, I didn't realize it was only 9 episodes until it's over. Yeah, again, I think I've talked about the season so far a couple of times. Really enjoyable. It does. In the first season, there was a standalone episode that was one of the highlights. They go for that again, but it actually serves as a 2-episode standalone. The first one follows the character of CW, who's the older gentleman writer who was a science fiction person, jumps back into when he first started working as a science fiction writer for a magazine back in, I want to say, the 40s, 50s. And he meeting this other, meets 2 other aspiring writers, and they form this friendship. but then it turns out he's not very good at writing, you know? And the other two are really passionate, but they can't really say good things about CW's work, and kind of progresses from there and the kind of fracturing of their friendship. And then the second episode kind of delves into that friendship, like revisiting it all these years later. But that kind of, as much as I enjoyed those two episodes, and they're really great, for the season overall, it kind of causes this weird gap in between. Like last season, there was obviously just the one episode where the ongoing story of the season was stopped for a second. Especially where the season did stop. I feel like this kind of ruined the flow of the season. I thought maybe they could have been spread out a bit better, and that kind of thing. But yeah, I really loved it. Mythic Quest is one of the top comedies going around at the moment. They end the season in a really interesting way, and setting it up for a third season that could be anything at this point. So yeah, if you're not watching Mythic Quest on Apple TV Plus, you should be, because I mean now's a good time to sign up for a membership, because in like a month you can get season 2 of Ted Lasso. So why not? Also on Apple TV Plus, the second season of Central Park has launched. So this is an animated TV show based around people who work in Central Park in New York City, America. I don't know if that's not obvious or not. But it's also a musical featuring Josh Gad, Josh Gad, Catherine Hahn,
you got him,
W.
yeah.
Diggs. Who am I thinking of that from? Leslie Odom Jr. That's the main. Titus Burgess, Stanley Tucci. Again, I really liked the first season. Second season, I don't. The songs aren't I'm not in love with the songs as much as I feel like I was at the start of the first season. It's much so far. It feels very more episodic. There doesn't seem to be a clear season overview yet. But you know, they only released the first 3 episodes, so still early days. Obviously, a big change between the seasons. They replaced Kristen Bell stood down for her role as Molly, and was replaced by Emmy Raver Lapman from Umbrella Academy. And the change is very close to unnoticeable. It's like very impressive how she.
What are these animated shows? Oh my god!
What
is this? I didn't know this. Was this another cast of white actors to do a?
Yeah, a biracial character.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, it's kind of a
Well,
because obviously
you're white, you know. Like,
that's true.
I'm not. You guys.
I mean, she's half white. You know, it's a weird.
Yeah, but also she's not. Christian Bell isn't half black, so
that's true.
Important parts are missing. So
you're just saying black is the most important part.
If you're biracial, yeah, like, yeah. You couldn't have
Wow.
You could have a black, white people.
Okay.
I was just thinking, because like this is what 2 shows that I can think of that we know of, right? Because what's the fuck did it as well?
Big Mouth.
Big Mouth, that's the one. Yeah, Big Mouth did it too. Yeah,
there's a lot of shows did it in the last 12 months. I think
last couple of years, but I'm like, surely one of them would have seen the other
changed
one.
a bunch of cast members, kind of stuff.
I mean, it's good. It's good they're doing it. It's just I'm like, come on, just cast the right person initially, and you won't have to recast.
I mean, they could have just made her a white girl or something. Then
Hank Azaria stepped down from voicing Mo or whatever in Simpsons recently.
I don't think Mo was a problem. I think you're thinking of Apu.
Apu, that's it. Yeah, sorry. Fuck, I don't watch The Simpsons, man. Yeah, that's the character.
No, he stood down from playing Mo the bartender, but he keeps voicing Apu.
Does he actually voice? Does he voice Mo?
I don't know.
I was like, damn, I got some Simpsons trivia I didn't even know about. Like, didn't know Hank Azaria did all the voices, but yeah, that was another one.
Yes, he does recently. Do.
Wow, there you go. See, I'm a fucking Simpsons.
Well, he does a lot
I'm
of
like
voices in The Simpsons.
I reckon I've retained a headline. Is what I've done just then. The headline probably said something about stops playing Apu, will voice Mo, and my head's just gone.
Just gone the other way around. But yeah. Good start. Not as strong songs, although there is a song done by David Diggs about Weehawken, about coming from Weehawken. That's my favorite song of the season so far. So yeah, you can check that on Spotify, I believe. Yeah. So there's that. Then I also checked out the documentary on Apple TV Plus. Who Are You, Charlie Brown? Following it's a pretty short documentary. It's only like an hour long. Kind of going over the history of Charlie Brown, no, Peanuts creator, Charles Schultz. I feel like it's very surface level. It doesn't really delve deep into anything. Also intercut with these animated segments of the Peanuts characters. Charlie Brown's gotten an essay that he needs to write for school about himself, and he's having a really difficult time trying to write an essay about himself. He talks to all these other Peanut friends trying to figure out what he needs to talk about himself for. I don't know. Yeah, it's a fine documentary. I'm sure if you like Peanuts, this is like a nice kind of surface level-y kind of thing, kind of looking at his history and a couple of significant moments, the introduction of the different characters and what these characters mean to a bunch of celebrities. They got a bunch of interviews with all sorts of different celebrities like Drew Barrymore and a bunch of the Stranger Things kids and other people.
Interesting crossover since it's an Apple thing.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, it's fine. I think obviously I watched the was it Dear Bill Watterson documentary a few years ago, the one about Calvin Hobbes. I think that one's more interesting because obviously it's a more personal tales of the people who were influenced by that series. So I would recommend checking that one out instead. You can probably watch it on like Doc Play or something. But yeah. All right. Let's move into the mandatory Netflix segment of the show. Dylan, you watched Season 2 of Feel Good. Feel Good, one of your surprise hit shows. One of your surprise favorites of last year. Somehow didn't make it on your list.
Did I talk about it? Yeah,
you definitely talked about it. Maybe it did make your top 10. I can't remember.
Can't remember what my top 10 was, to be honest. Did I just say that on this? Was this? Yeah, I don't know. Did I write it down? I don't remember. No. Yeah, I definitely, it was surprise hit. I did watch it randomly last year because that was the other thing. It's really weird. This is a show. So this is the last season. This is it. The show's over. 2 seasons done.
It's a British show. That makes sense.
Yeah, they're like 6 episodes, 12. Yeah, that's enough. Fuck it, done. That's how we do TV shows. Yeah, so it's interesting that the first season came out during the pandemic. Second season came out during the pandemic. So I don't know how many shows are going to have their entire run have aired during the pandemic, but yeah, Feel Good's up there. So I don't want to spoil too much because I really like this show and I would like people to check it out if they haven't watched the first season. So I don't want to delve too much into everything, like where this picks up after the first season. Because again, it's 6 episodes. Like, I binged this show, everyone. Like, it'd been a while since I binged. I watched like 5 episodes this in a row. I felt pretty fucking hardcore. Yeah, no, it's very, very good. So the setup for the show Feel Good is basically, because I can't remember if I talked about it, I'm sure I did, but stars Mae Martin, who's basically playing a version of themselves from real life. They're a comedian, Canadian. Well, they were born in Canada, then they've been living in Britain for like most of their life, I think is how it goes. And pretty much this is one of those shows where it's like someone's playing a character that's named themselves, and it's like semi-autobiographical, you know what I mean? Like where it's like, it's based on a lot of stuff, but it's not like strictly here's the exacts of my life. It's just based on stuff that has happened to them in their life. So that's the sort of setup. And it is they're a comedian, Mae's a comedian, and then it's a rom-com. So you have in the first episode of the first season, they meet this girl, like walks up to him in the bar, is like, "Hey, my name's George, blah, 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 blah." So you get this whole romance thing that happens in the first season. The second season, without going too deep into spoilers, again, still have romance stuff happening for different reasons and different people and all these sorts of things. And the way they explore, this show does, I think, one of the best jobs, I think, of exploring, I guess, what you'd call the 21st century dating, or like different, like, because like this show does cover a lot of modern modern sensibilities, I guess, is what I'd put it under. Like, so it does cover a lot of stuff. So it does cover like a very good like idea and whatever else of the 21st dating world and stuff like that. But the second season also deals with a lot of May's unchecked PTSD that they've had from something that happened in their childhood. And the way that they do this slow burn of revealing this and like leading up to the final episode and everything that happens there, and I just thought it was really, really well done and one of the best ways I've seen it. And then I think the other thing that I love so much about this season is that the show also has, I think, one of the best depictions I've seen of like being in a relationship and May's struggling with this post-traumatic stress stuff, and often that's causing them to be, I mean, to put simply, a dick, like an asshole. So, and like how that comes across to the other person you're in a relationship with and how they deal with it, and like where's the middle ground there, and how hard relationships like this could be if the other person's like struggling with like something like this, be it PTSD or like anxiety or, you know, something like this. I feel like the show just does a really good job of doing like a not over the top like Hollywood version of it, but more of like a straight up like realistic way, while also being funny. Like the show is funny. It is a comedy, so it is funny, but it's also challenging and playing with a lot of really interesting and obviously like serious themes. And yeah, it's done now 2 seasons. I think the show has a fantastic finale. I thought this second season was I loved the first season. I think the second season is so much better. I loved where it finished. I think this is just a nice little 12 episode package where it does what I think most shows should do, which is they should leave you wanting more. And like when the show ends, I do wish that I could have more time with these characters, because there's a lot of characters that I very much was enjoying spending my time with. But ultimately, shows have to end. And I feel like if a show ends where you're like, oh, thank God, I was like getting sick of them, that's too late. You've gone past that point. Whereas this ending, you're like, oh, I wonder what happens next. And, you know, like, but that's good. So, yeah, this is definitely in my favorite things I've watched so far this year. And overall, I'd suggest, now that I can for sure say that the 2 seasons of Feel Good are worth watching, just, yeah, it's 12 episodes. I highly suggest watching it. I think it's very, very good. Because I was sick last week also, I was like laying in bed or whatever one of those days, I actually ended up buying Mae Martin audiobook and just like listening to that, which was like 4 hours long or whatever. So I just went on this whole Mae Martin like fucking week. I think I like finished Feel Good and I was like went through the audiobook, one of their audiobooks, smashed through that as well. So yeah, I highly suggest this show.
Okay, cool. So I watched the series that's just released on Netflix. This is Pop. So it's a bunch of music documentaries kind of focused around pop music. Really interesting. Obviously, each episode is very much self-contained, feels very different. I think it feels almost like a pop music version of 30 for 30, where it feels like every single episode. I don't know if each episode was directed by someone different, but it definitely feels that way. Like some episodes have like a narrator or like a host, that kind of stuff. But each episode delves into a different thing. Like the first episode looks into the history of Boyz II Men and the impact they had in like the pop industry, the influx of boy bands that kind of showed up post their run as at the top of the charts, and why they kind of faded away to a certain degree. I think the one episode that kind of actually stands out the most to me, though, is there's this episode called Auto-Tune. and is pretty much.
Is it the one with Twitch streamer T-Pain in it?
Yes, that's the one.
Okay.
I didn't know it was a Twitch streamer, but yeah, it's pretty much it's almost a documentary about T-Pain and kind of the history of autotune and how he got into using it and then kind of how people kind of turned on autotune and like kind of came to blame T-Pain for ruining music. He tells a story in which he's on a plane with Usher. You know, like a normal plane, and Usher pulls him away, like needs to talk to him about something in private. And Usher says, you know, you kind of ruin music with your autotune. And like T-Pain's like, that I didn't realize at the time, but that's the starting point of like 4-year cycle of depression. It's like, and then yeah, it's just this really interesting look at obviously this guy who's just wanted to sound cool and like did this thing that his wife really loved and like made him stand out to everybody else. And like everybody else was kind of like taking advantage of him. He was coming in and doing segments on other people's tracks.
All the features. T-Pain features.
All the T-Pain features.
I'm on a boat, man.
Yeah. And just, yeah. And then it was also tailed end by this interesting, obviously a couple of years ago, he did Tiny Desk for NPR, where he didn't sing with autotune. And like his feelings about people being shocked that he could actually sing. And like his kind of thought process around that. It was really interesting. So I definitely think it's worth checking out. The couple of other interesting ones. One focused on why Sweden is like secretly a massive powerhouse in the music industry. Like they're behind so many different bands, so many different songs and that kind of stuff. Interviewing a bunch of different people, obviously starting off with like the people from ABBA, but then up to people like Ludwig Göransson, who's obviously a composer for pretty much anything you've probably liked recently, like Black Panther and Tenet. Mandalorian. Yeah. They've got an episode focused on what a song can do. So it's a bunch of different like songs that have impact and kind of thing. I thought that was quite an interesting episode. Got like one on country music. There's one on like really older songs that like the history of the Brill Building. That one I didn't find as interesting. Obviously, a lot of older songs that I couldn't really connect with. But yeah, also talking about music festivals, something nobody's had much experience of in the last 12 months. And then there's another one about the history of Britpop and the feud between Oasis and Blur. So yeah, definitely a cool little series. You should all check out, in my opinion. Hopefully they does well enough and they could do a second season of other ones. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think it's obviously, if you like music documentaries, this is right up your alley. All right, well, that's everything in our watch history. Let's move into some film news. We'll kick things off. Big news this week.
Big news. We've
got confirmation of the next Transformers film, Dylan.
Oh, fuck, super excited.
Transformers Rise of the Beasts. Yep, so confirmed. It's going to be I don't know if it has got a date. June 24th, 2022. That's pretty quick. Only just starting production, starring Anthony Ramos, Dominic Fishback, directed by Creed 2 director Stephen Capel. It's going to explore characters from Beast Wars, which we've discussed before, a spin-off of the original Transformers animated series, focus on descendants of the Autobots and Decepticons. They're jumping back in time, as far as I can tell. Yeah, the film finds the Beast Wars characters on Earth, and the majority of this movie is going to be set in 1994 in New York City. Dylan, could this film potentially bring you back or to the Transformers universe franchise?
See, I wanted to watch Bumblebee. Is the one I keep watch Bumblebee.
It's so hard to find a way to watch Bumblebee.
It's not that it's hard. It's just I haven't had the time. But that's the one. Like if I had to watch a Transformers movie tomorrow, I'd watch. I would actually like to try and watch Bumblebee because it wasn't directed by Fucking Michael Bay. Look, my reaction to this was Beast Wars. Cool. I like Beast Wars. I think we talked about this. I like me some Beast Wars. I preferred Beast Wars as a kid. That was the show I watched the most of as a kid. And I was annoyed when I watched that trailer and then I found out they fucked him in whatever that movie was. The Fallen Knight, Dark Side of the Moon. You know the one where they had him in it? They brought the beasties in it? Or at least
they had the dinosaurs. They had the Dinobots.
Yeah, and we all thought they were going to... we all thought it was going to go there, and we all thought they was going to do that, and then they just fucked us. Here's my problem with this is, in my opinion, that this perfect movie is they kill Optimus Prime. They fucking destroy him. Beast Wars win. Beast win in this battle. But you know what's going to happen? It's complete opposite of that. So fuck this movie. I don't care.
Wow. Yeah, so we know Optimus Prime is coming back. Bumblebee is going to be in the film. But yeah, Optimus Primal is set to appear at some point. Obviously, the leader of the Maximals. Yeah, I think, I'm keen for this. I first Transformers film, I really enjoy. I think it's a really great film. Of course, they kind of go off the rails from there. But Bumblebee, I quite enjoyed when I watched it. Obviously, they're deciding that the big thing that's going to make this reboot going to work is setting it in the past. I don't know. Maybe it's so they're not tempted to use crazy current day technology Transformers to transform into mobile phones, that kind of crazy stuff. But yeah, I think, this is a cool direction for the franchise to take. Obviously, separating them as far as possible from Michael Bay and just kind of filmmaking. I wasn't a huge fan of Creed 2, but, I'm sure he's
neither. That's
capable,
why I'm not particularly excited.
A capable director. I like Anthony Ramos a lot. Of course, we talked about In the Heights last episode. I thought he was great in that. But yeah, I think I'm optimistic about the future of Transformers because there's like another 3 Transformers in the works from memory, something like that.
Oh my god,
a lot of Transformer movies in the works. Here's something that might be of interest to you. Apparently, there is a Smallville. There's a Smallville animated series potentially in the works. So apparently, Tom Welling and Michael Rosenbaum have teamed up to develop the sequel series. In an interview, I think it was like a cameo. Tom Welling said, Michael Rosenbaum are actually working on an animated series to bring these characters back to life and use as many of the original cast members as possible. Don't tell anybody, though, it's a secret. We're still working on it. Would you be keen for a Smallville spin-off series, animated?
Well, my thing with this is, they did all those comics, right? So they did season 11, 12, whatever. Like, they continued the Smallville series into these digital comics for quite some time. I don't know if they ever stopped. I assume they actually did. So that's what they did there. So I'm like, well, this isn't going to be based on that. So this is a continuation. This is a new thing. But some of those comics were quite good. So I'm like, you could use that as a basis for what's going to happen here. My feelings either way, be it the continuation in the comics or doing animated series, is either way it feels weird. It'll feel weirder with Tom Welling doing the voice though, because the thing, of course, with Smallville was it was just this cap-off period of like, it ends when he's Superman, and that's why the show ended. So then to have him being Superman, it's not really Smallville anymore. It's then just Superman. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. We've already got an awesome Superman and Lois going at the moment, which you should check out.
Like, I really like Smallville. I really loved seeing Tom Welling and what's his name?
Erica Durant.
Erica Durant. When they showed up in the crossover event, when was that? A couple years ago?
Last year.
Was that last year?
It was.
Was it the end of 2019? I thought maybe.
Yeah, end of 2019 was the first half, so they showed up end of 2019.
Okay. Yeah. So seeing him in that was really cool, obviously. And yeah, I mean, ultimately, when I think about what would I like to see out of the Smallville characters, it's actually what we saw in that. It's more of a Lois and Clark thing and less a Superman thing. Because the thing that made that show so interesting was it was all more the human character stuff and less the superpower stuff. Of course, there's lots of superpower shit that happened in that show, but ultimately, because of it being a small budget TV show, it was mostly about the characters, and you know, you had all the high school drama and all that for the first couple seasons, and until they transitioned out into to actual jobs and whatever else. So, I'd be interested. I wouldn't be particularly. I'm not super into the idea of just a Superman show of Tom Welling as Superman, though. Like, no offense to him, but I'm like, that's, I don't know, like, I want like the Clark Kent side more so than the Superman side, if that makes sense.
Maybe it could just be Clark Kent, and then they just cut away every time Superman goes and says somebody.
Sure, that would get annoying.
Save the budget, on the episodes. I'd be like. Yeah, I've got mixed feelings about it as well. It's like, obviously, there's a certain part of me is like, can't people let things end? Like, the other day I saw on Twitter, like, people are campaigning to get Gotham uncancelled. It ended after 5 seasons.
It had an actual ending, though, right?
It had an actual ending, yes.
Yeah.
Let things end and like kind of just, you know, stay how they are. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, it's an interesting one because it would be. I'm sure it would be cool to see an animated version of those. I don't know if I would have to sign off on like the animation style. I don't know. I wouldn't want it to look the exact same as those comic books. I don't think are very visually impressive. But yeah, I think it might be interesting to continue to see actual Tom Welling as Superman. Kind of hear Tom Welling as Superman. I mean, it seems like an easy... If HBO Max wants to get some more eyeballs, seems like an easy thing to suggest and just put through. Like, even if it's just one season. Of like, yeah, these actors are kind of maybe a bit too old to playing these roles. So let's have it animated. And that kind of could potentially open the flood doors to other projects being animated. I guarantee
in the future. One voice won't be returned.
One voice is definitely not going to be in this series. Green Arrow's wife is definitely not going to appear at any point. It's weird. She just ran off in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Never to be seen again.
Oh dear.
Oh dear. All right. We've got word on the next potential project for one Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. He's set to star in Red One, a Santa-centric holiday action film from Fast and Furious writer Chris Morgan, which The Rock has described as Hobbs meets Miracle on 34th Street.
Fuck does that mean?
I don't know, but I don't know. I'm mixed on this one as well. Do I want to see The Rock as Santa? Surely he's got to be playing Santa, right? Like, or some version of Santa?
Assume so.
And it's some sort of action movie?
Yeah, I already had it. It stars Kurt Russell. That was an action movie, right?
Not really. I mean, Dylan, have we stretched the holiday genre too far?
I mean, Die Hard's a Christmas movie, so...
Yeah, if you've already perfected the Christmas movie, action Christmas movie, why are you trying to...
Yeah.
Top it.
Why even bother at this point? Yeah, I don't know. All I can think about right now is there was this Onion article that went around back in the early days of Fast and Furious where it was them interviewing Chris Morgan, and they were saying that Chris Morgan was this like 6-year-old little kid. But it was one of those Onion articles like back in the day where people didn't know what the Onion was, so everyone was sharing it thinking it was real, and being like, "Oh my god, the writer of the Fast and Furious movies is actually a small child." And then when you're telling me that Chris Morgan wants to write a movie starring The Rock where he plays Santa Claus and it's an action movie, and it's Hobbs meets Miracle on 34th Street or whatever, that's all I can think about. Is Chris Morgan probably is actually now a 12-year-old boy.
He's
This whole time.
3 12-year-old boys in a trench coat.
I think that's probably what it is, yeah. It wasn't an Onion article. It was actually a real article this entire time.
It was a think piece, yeah. Yeah, I just love the idea of The Rock doing an action Christmas movie. I mean, if it's as bonkers as anything else he's been doing recently, you know, I'm sure it'll be good for a laugh. It seems like Amazon is on board, so potentially be coming to Amazon Prime. In one quote, he specifically says, "I've been very impressed with Jen Sackley, who's head of Amazon Studios, and her team's vision and ambition to create an enormous, fun, and unique Red One holiday universe for families around the world to enjoy." So not just sticking to just the one film. Spin-offs already in the works.
There's always got to be spin-offs, I guess.
Yeah, Chris Morgan writing 6-7 different films, all involving the Red Santa. Wow. Look forward to this apparently coming 2023. I guess The Rock does have like a busy schedule. I'm assuming he's got Black Adam. I assume Hobbs and Shaw 2 is coming some point.
Well, he usually makes about 1 million movies a year, but obviously last year was a lot quieter, so.
Well, he had Young Rock, so he had a whole TV series in the works. So this is an interesting one. Apparently, Quentin Tarantino, obviously, he's discussed that he's planning to finish up. He's going to retire after his 10th movie. Apparently, he considered for his 10th and final film to remake Reservoir Dogs. Interview with interview with Bill Maher on his show Real Time, and yeah, he tossed up the possibility of remaking Reservoir Dogs now in 2021. Good idea to not remake Reservoir Dogs. I don't think I've ever heard of a director remaking their own film.
So Funny Games is the only one I springs straight to my mind. That director, the original one, I think it was Swedish or something. They remade their own movie for American audiences, shot for shot.
That makes sense,
pretty much. And it was one of those cases where it was actually a decent remake because it wasn't a different director doing the material. It was just their same director remaking their own material for a different audience or whatever. So that's the only one that springs straight to mind. Funny Games. As for him doing Reservoir Dogs, no, fuck that. That's a terrible idea. Reservoir Dogs is fantastic. It's my favorite Tarantino film. It's the one I've watched the most. So it's not that I'm like, no, that movie's shit. I'm like, you've already done it. It's great. Leave it alone. Don't touch it. Maybe he could make it better, but I don't even want to risk it. Just leave it. Reservoir Dogs is great. Don't waste. If Tarantino's only doing one more movie, he wastes it. See, I don't even want him to do a sequel. Like, I know a lot of people go, oh, if he's doing one more, it has to be Kill Bill Vol. 3. No, fuck that. I want it to be something wild, crazy. Like, just the most outland. If he legit only does one more movie, I want new movie, new characters, batshit crazy, most Tarantino fucking thing you've ever seen. I want it to be like 5 hours long.
Yeah, definitely. I think, obviously, it's an interesting idea in theory, but like the last film to be the first film, and kind of it maybe his final film is a documentary about, or like mockumentary about him
himself?
making Reservoir Dogs.
Sounds like something he would do.
Like, completely bizarre off the road. Like a documentary about his life, starting from when he started making Reservoir Dogs to a fake version of him making Reservoir Dogs. I don't know.
You see he put out that book too, by the way?
Apparently, yeah, he's doing a novelization of Reservoir Dogs. Also, apparently...
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood novelization came out this week.
Yes, that too. Apparently, he's also doing a stage play version of it.
Yeah, makes sense.
I mean, a whole line of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood stuff. Sure.
Because he did, because The Hateful Eight they did that as a stage play, obviously. Like as a one-night thing before eventually turning into a movie. So, I mean, he's always been talking about ending on his 10th. He's always been talking about how...
Look, here's the quote. He says, yeah, 10 of the magic number. I know film history, and from here on in, filmmakers do not get better. Don Siegel, if he had to quit his career in 1979 when he did Escape from Alcatraz, what a film. What a mic drop. I don't know. I feel like he's putting a lot of pressure on himself to make sure his 10th one is
I completely disagree with. I've always disagreed with this notion, like not just for him, but just like generally for filmmakers. I don't think any filmmaker should be afraid or wanting to end on their best film, because then you're just always going to have that sort of like notion of like, oh, that was my best one, so I suppose I should wrap it up now in case I die randomly and the last movie I made is my worst one, and then that's what's my legacy. It's like if a really good filmmaker, like if Stevens, like say Spielberg dies, right, and say his last couple of films are shit, no one's going to care. Like, honestly, those movies get reviewed shit at the time, obviously. But I think, his legacy, everyone would just not even talk about his shit last couple of movies. Because he's got so many classics that people would always just talk about the classics. I'm not saying now. I'm saying, like, if he did a few more.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, I'm trying to think what his last
few
movies
just
are.
saying, like,
I don't think they're...
I'm just saying, imagine like West Side Story shit. Imagine whatever he does next is shit. Imagine he does something else after that is shit. So just imagine his next few that aren't out are terrible. And then Spielberg dies. Knock wood, he doesn't anytime soon. But this scenario, no one's going to talk about those movies after the fact. Like, I really just don't believe in the thing of, the last thing you do, suddenly that's your legacy. Unless you murder people or something, in which case, then you're known as a murdering serial killer, and that is your legacy. But yeah, for artists, for filmmakers, or what have you, I don't think this is an applicable thing. I often feel like he just wants a break, and he can't feel like because this is what I don't understand. He's like 50 something, right? I think Tarantino's like 50 something, mid 50s maybe. Like, he always talks about wanting to write books and plays and stuff. All right, go do that. Go disappear for like 10 years. But I really don't like, because it always annoyed me with like Soderbergh, right? Oh, I'm done making movies. All right, I'm back making movies. Like, just like, it reminds me of the fucking John Farnham, older John Farnham, like last tour. Like, stop, right? If you want a break, take a break. You want to go write books for 10 years? Or maybe you think you want to write books forever, fine. But just stop with the whole, I have to make sure that when I do my last movie, I announce it as such. It's like, just do one, have it come out, and then say, all right, I'm just going to work on some books for a couple of years. Because then people stop, people ask you, like when you're doing a movie, of course they will. But here's the thing, even if he says 10th is last, I can guarantee 5 years after that, people will still be asking him if he's ever going to come back and do a movie. So you can't win either way. So just, yeah.
I mean, technically he has done 10th, but yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't count.
Kill Bill. That's separate.
Yeah, it's one movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if this is the argument. People always say that if he did Kill Bill Volume 3 under Tarantino's rules, he could say that's part of the Kill Bill. Like, it's just one movie.
I think, yeah.
It's
do
Volume
10,
3.
and then, take a break, do whatever you want. Go in a Tony with a play or something. And then you can do TV. Who knows what. Maybe Sinners will be dead by then, and you won't technically be making movies anymore.
He wants to write books. He always talks about writing books in interviews and stuff.
Yeah. Go ahead. Win a Pulitzer.
Yeah. I mean, he did that Django comic as well, the Django Zorro thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently they're still turning into a TV show or movie or something.
Yeah. Speaking of Spielberg, and I had to bring this story up because it's a film that we constantly bring up. Apparently Universal approached Steven Spielberg about a Jaws reboot. Spielberg shot them down.
He shot them? Is that what
he shot them down?
He shot them. He shot them.
He shot them with a harpoon gun down.
Yeah, that's a terrible idea. Why would you do that? Who fucking thinks of it? These are all dweebs at Universal. Fucking what little cunts. Fuck off. Get the hell out of here. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard all day. And I've heard some dumb things today, I tell you what. What's up there? What's up there with some of the dumbest shit?
You think a Jaws reboot is crazy?
Yeah. It's a perfect movie. You can't make it better. Leave it alone.
But you want prequels and sequels and
to what?
More Jaws. More Jaws. That's almost something we should put on a t-shirt here at the Exposure Network.
The Jaws, I believe, is what I was pitching. The Jaws. It was a prequel.
Yes. So you want that, but you wouldn't do a Jaws reboot.
Don't remake it. No, fuck off. This is my thing. Like, if you want to bring back an old franchise, as much as some people don't like it, I'm always going to vote either do a sequel or a prequel or a spin-off, whatever, and just leave it as that. Because this is the thing I never understood about the Ghostbusters drama, and it was because sexism mostly. But the thing with the Ghostbusters thing is it was like it's its own thing. Like if it's shit, it's shit. You know. So if you do a sequel to a prequel or a spin-off or whatever, like they could have had that as a spin-off, and then they could have done tied it into the other movies. I don't fucking know. Just don't remake stuff is my golden rule. Just don't remake. Don't remake things, because that's when you get the most like comparison to the original thing, and that's when it could be the most drama and the most angry. Just leave Jaws alone unless you're going to make the Jaws, which is a prequel I pitched, and I would get royalties. So
you get royalties, yeah. We can only hope. All right, that's all that is for this episode. Let's jump into thumbs of trailers. Big fortnight for trailers. There's a bunch that I wasn't able. I've tried to keep it short-ish. So I've set myself a limit of 5 trailers per an episode. But there's definitely a bunch of different trailers you should definitely go back and watch.
Look for a new spin-off show called Bonus Thumbs for Trailers.
Maybe. But yeah, there was the Foundation trailer for the new Apple TV series. There was the Sing 2 trailer, which looks pretty good. Like, I might like watch the original and check that out when it eventually comes out. And of course, Clifford the Big Red Dog has a trailer. Wow. Wow. It looks like they've put a dog in front of a green screen after they spray painted it red.
Yeah, sure.
All right, but first up, we've got a film that we've talked about here before, believe it or not, several times. I think it might be one of the first ones from Would You Want to Invest? There's actually come up as like a thing.
Really?
Yeah, from memory. I don't know. I have to go back and listen. But The Harder They Fall, coming to Netflix later this year, directed by James Samuels, also known as The Bullets, starring Jonathan Majors, Idris Elba, Zazie Beetz, Lakeith Stanfield, Aurelia Lindo, and Regina King. Nat Love reassembles his former gang to seek revenge against the man who murdered his parents. Dylan, what do you think of this Western trailer?
This was a very cool trailer with just a bunch of people in it that I like, so I'm pretty much all about it. That's about my summary, I guess. You know, like the whole the general plot I didn't really get from the trailer. I didn't really know what was going on. All I knew was there was bad guys and good guys, and you know, there's a small town cowboy shit. I was laughing because I don't recall talking about this ever in that segment, but I was laughing at Jonathan Majors and Delroy Lindo in a movie again together.
Popping up together.
I was like, they keep popping up together, so I thought that was quite funny. But yeah, no, it looks really cool. I think the cast is really great. That opening moment of the trailer with them all like breaking into the train, and obviously it starts with it was a train, right? Yeah. Starts with Regina King, you know, coming in, and they break out Idris Elba, and he just has that badass moment when they like shoot everyone and go down. Yeah, I thought it was a really cool trailer. I'm intrigued. I definitely want to watch it. Well, yeah, I'm into it. I'm going one up, one down. Like, I'm into it, but I feel like the pacing in the trailer after the train segment just was a little bit. As a trailer, I'm just saying it was a little bit choppy. So I'm going one up, one down, but I'm definitely into this.
Yeah, I agree. It's a film that I'm definitely keen to watch and check out, especially with that cast. And it looks unlike any Western I think I've seen before. But yeah, that trailer was not... I don't think it would sell anybody who didn't care about the actors involved. So yeah, also a one up and one down for me. Next trailer on our list is one of our favorites here at the Explosion Network. It's the Nia DaCosta directed Jordan Peele's Candyman. Of course, a spiritual successor to the 1992 horror film Candyman that now returns to the now gentrified Chicago neighborhood where the legend began. Like I said, directed by Nia DaCosta, starring Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, Piano Paris, Nathan Stewart Garrett, and Coleman Domingo. Dylan, what do you think of this trailer?
I've watched so many Candyman trailers at this stage. This is the problem with these fucking delays. I feel like I've watched so many, but weirdly I keep feeling like I've seen a lot of the same stuff. So I don't feel like I've seen like the whole movie.
It says official trailer number 2. So
yeah, okay, but I feel like I've seen a lot more than that. Like there must be a few teasers and TV spots that put out like the stretch out material over the last year of the delay or whatever. But yeah, I think this is the best trailer because I think this one sells the themes. Because I think we talked about this how Candyman. I was talking about the first. I was saying like Candyman, the original film, was a film that played around with this character, the original Candyman being someone who was potentially like lynched or whatever it was, cause of racism and stuff like that. And that was something that the original film plays around with, but it doesn't like have too much at the forefront because they're still trying to sell it as this general horror movie boogeyman type thing that you could sell to general horror movie going audiences. Whereas this trailer more so than any very much says like this movie has a, like it has a, if you want to put under political message or social message, whatever, it's definitely playing a lot more into that. The ideas of the Candyman storyline that was set up in the original film. So that's cool. Very keen for that. And yeah, it's just a generally very creepy trailer. All the quick like Candyman, that sort of cut together stuff. Oh fucking no, I'm just joking. Yeah, I'm very, very keen to watch Jordan Peele's, directed by Nia DaCosta's Candyman.
Yes, this looks creepy as fuck. It is a brilliantly put together trailer. Like sets up the story brilliantly. Freaks me the fuck out. Full on like the shadow puppet shit. All the people just repeatedly saying Candyman. Why are you saying Candyman? Why even tempt that shit?
Is that one woman that goes, no, don't say that. Like
no, that's me. Don't say Candyman. Don't say Bloody Mary. Don't say Beetlejuice.
Well, you just said them all. You're fucked.
Yeah.
You made a cocktail.
I have to say them multiple times, right?
Okay. What were they again?
Nope, not falling for that.
Double thumbs up, by the way.
Yeah, definitely a double thumbs up. Excited for it to eventually be a success and people do put respect on DaCosta's name so I can stop running this joke into the ground. It'll stop being funny at that point when she's actually successful. And,
well, she's doing a Marvel movie, so.
Yeah, but... Yeah. So, Candyman coming to cinemas...
August something.
August... Hang on.
Late August.
August 26th.
Okay.
So, really, it's not that far away.
No.
Like, just over a month.
Well, by the time this episode's out, we're in July.
Yeah, frick. All right. Next up, we've got Snake Eyes. I think, yeah, it's just Snake Eyes. There's no Snake Eyes. G.I. Joe Origins. I think it might just be called Snake Eyes though. Directed by Robert Schwinke, starring Henry Golding, Andrew Koji, Samara Weaving. It's a G.I. Joe spin-off centered around the character Snake Eyes, who most people would know was that cool, fully black-covered, mute ninja assassin from the series. This one acts as like a prequel to that, to the events of G.I. Joe, I guess, delving into the background of Snake Eyes. But Dylan, did you like this trailer?
So I know nothing about G.I. Joe, and this trailer is just a bunch of fucking nonsense. I was like, who's Snake Eyes? So the thing that made me laugh is I'm watching this trailer and I see the guy who's playing Snake Eyes, right? I'm pretty sure that's the guy that played Dry Eyes in fucking The Gentleman. So I click on the dude, and it is. So I'm like, this motherfucker plays a character called Dry Eye in The Gentleman. Like, was one of the main villains in that movie, or like the main villain. And then in this, he's like playing Snake Eye. And also, Iko Uwais is in this, so I guess I have to watch it. Like, my man's in this, so, you know, I feel somewhat obligated to check this out because who's in it. But otherwise, nonsensical trailer. I don't know. I guess it looked all right. It looked like a movie that would go straight to DVD. It does nothing. I've no attachment to this franchise. I don't know anything about G.I. Joe.
This is a great entry point.
I really feel like this. So G.I. Joe is like an American thing, right? Because I always talk about like how the kids growing up there, they'll have G.I. Joe. It was a TV show. Was it toys? I don't even understand.
It was
I
both.
Don't actually know.
It was. Do you know Action Man?
Yeah, I had an Action Man.
It fit that Action Man was like the spin-off of G.I. Joe, I think, from memory. It's
really?
like they took the toys from G.I. Joe and made him Action Man and sold him here.
Okay. Yeah, because I don't know anyone who ever.
G.I. Joe was very much
Joe.
an American thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's massive over there. The comic books and the TV series and everything, all that stuff. But yeah, I enjoyed the trailer. I don't think it's fantastically put together. I think it gives away too much. I feel like. I know that it feels like it gives away too much.
I don't know what the fuck was happening. So,
even though Dylan didn't know what was happening, I feel like it gave away a hell of a lot of the setup and plot of the film. So,
double thumbs down.
I would give one up and one down. I don't know why I'm actually doing it on camera.
it's out of habit. Like,
yeah. So, Snake Eyes coming to cinemas July 22nd.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, not far away. We haven't had the opportunity to talk about it yet, so look forward to that one coming soon. Next up, Halloween Kills, the sequel to Halloween, which was the sequel to Halloween.
Well, when you say it like that.
So this one, directed by David Jordan Green, starring Jamie Lee Curtis, Judy Greer, Andy Matchkak, Will Patton, Thomas Mann, Anthony Michael Hall, Kyle Richards, Robert Longstreet, Nancy Stevens, and Charles Cyphers. Minutes after Laurie Strode, her daughter Karen, and granddaughter Allison left masked monster Michael Myers caged and burning in Laurie's basement, Laurie is rushed to the hospital with life-threatening injuries, believing she has finally killed her lifelong tormentor. When Michael manages to free himself from Laurie's trap, his ritual bloodbath resumes. As Laurie fights her pain and prepares to defend herself against him, she inspires all of Haddonfield to rise up against their unstoppable monster. So this is like, I'm taking this is a direct sequel to Halloween from 2018, like set moments after.
So
am I correct in assuming that?
So the Halloween ends with them trapping Michael in the basement of Laurie's house and setting, like, it's in like a room she'd set up where she can trap him in it, and then they like close him inside and set the fucking thing on fire, and then like, fuck you, Michael, like pretty much roll credits. So then this trailer starts with them in the back of a car being taken into town, and then you see all the fire engines coming in, and that's where they're like, no, because obviously they're like, don't put the fucking fire out, let that motherfucker burn. So yeah, it seems like this movie, unlike every other Halloween sequel, well, no, obviously like 2018 Halloween was set however many years after the first one, like 30 years or whatever, but other than that, every other Halloween sequel is obviously years later, Michael strikes again, like he's back, who'd have thought, how'd he come back? This one's very much like it's straight after, like it's literally picks up
same night.
Seconds. Yeah, it starts the same night. You see in the trailer that Laurie's in hospital. Obviously she wakes up, she's like, oh, thank God, everything's okay. And they're like, you haven't heard, fucking Michael's escaped, all this sort of shit. So yeah, it literally picks up straight after the events of the first film, which I thought was really cool, and I thought was really well put together in the trailer, and the way they sort of show that and everything. Like this trailer is 100% built for people who watched the first one, obviously, and for someone who did watch the original, this trailer got me super hyped, and I went from being like, yeah, I'll watch this, but like I wasn't like super. I was like, I don't know, like sure, like don't know how to, whatever, you know. But then I was watching this trailer. I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, I'm all aboard the hype train now. Well, it's fantastic. This is double thumbs up for me. I know for sure. I'm very, very, very much want to watch this, and I'll probably rewatch the first one sometime in the lead up again. Even though I thought that was like I didn't like it as much as some people. Like I thought it was, you know, like it was good, but a lot of people were thinking it was great. But yeah, I thought it was a fantastic trailer.
Yeah. I mean, it looks bloody. It looks crazy. I think it I don't know. Does knowing there's going to be a third film kind of remove some of the tension?
Yeah.
It's like
motherfucker always comes back. Like spoilers, Michael doesn't die after they kill him in this movie. Yeah, who'd have fucking thought? Like,
I don't know. Yeah, but it seems like this is their best chance. They're all teaming up together. How is he supposed to kill like 60 a mob of people? How's he supposed to beat that?
I don't know. Yeah, I know. That's an interesting thing. So I do think they could do some like swervy things, like break what you would expect from a Halloween movie, because I think they shot them back to back from memory, unless I recall wrong. But I'm pretty sure they were shooting it back to back, and the last one comes because Halloween Ends comes out next year. So
yes,
like obviously they've set up a plot that'll run through both these films, and whatever they do. Well, they
maybe they kill him in this film, and then the next film is them just coping with the PTSD of the events.
I wouldn't be surprised. I think it would be fucking ballsy if they killed Laurie in this one. Like that would be the way. If you want to, like, if you wanted to, because obviously the thing with Michael Myers is like he's, you know, if they make a good scary movie, like obviously he's threatening and he stabs people and it's scary or whatever. But he also like he's been in so many movies. He's not like you've seen him around a lot. It's like how do you reignite that sort of like fear and hatred for him? I guess it's like actually have him kill Laurie. Have little old Jamie Lee Curtis just fucking get brutally
the
murdered.
final girl finally dies.
Yeah, so I mean that could be a way to set up the finale, I guess. But yeah, I thought it was a good trailer. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it looks scary. I'm not gonna watch it. Probably. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think. Obviously, comparing it straight up against Candyman, I think it kind of it seems a bit overly edited, in my opinion. So yeah, I'm giving it 1 up, 1 down. Final trailer is a film we knew nothing about. Doesn't currently have an Australian release date. But captured the world's attention. Pig. Directed by Michael Sonosky. Starring Nicolas Cage, Alex Wolff, Adam Arkin. A truffle hunter who lives in the Oregon wilderness must return to his past in Portland to search for his beloved foraging pig after she is kidnapped. Dylan, is this going to be John Wick, but with a pig?
So that's what I was thinking it was at the start, but I'm like, it's not surely, because it's not actually, they're not pitching it as an action movie at all, so it's definitely not. But you can't help but think that, obviously. But I'm also... It was an interesting trailer. Like, I like the trailer. It had you intrigued from the outset. She's like, oh, what happened to the pig? But then I'm like, what is the point of this movie? Like, what is this movie? Is this movie really silly? Like, is it serious? Like, I don't really, like, I'm into it. I want to know more. You've hooked me in, but also I don't really understand where this movie's going at this stage. Yeah. I'm like, is there like a secret organization stealing this pig? It's like, why? I don't know. It's weird.
Well, obviously, someone who watched the documentary Truffle Hunters earlier this year, truffles are a big deal. They can be worth a lot of money. So if you found a good foraging pig, I'm sure that would be worth a lot of money. Because it's able to find these truffles, which you can sell for a lot of money. But yeah, it seems like it's probably going to be more about, obviously, Nicolas Cage's character has gone out into the wilderness after his life. It seems like he used to be a chef, like a big chef, but has kind of secluded himself into the wilderness with this pig, and he's sort of coming back to the world to a certain degree while also investigating what happened to his pig.
Yeah. And his son, I guess, would be I presume his son, right? It's going to play.
Yeah, I assume so. Alex Wolff, yeah. Yeah. So what did you give this one?
1 up, 1 down. Because I liked it, but I was very confused.
I give it 2 thumbs up because I liked it and it was confusing in a good way. It's like intrigue. It's like, what's really happening here? I don't like. There's currently no release date in Australia for Pig, but it is set to release in American theaters July 16th from Neon. So
I would not
that means
look
it
for a
could come
release date
anytime.
because Neon movies often don't get release dates here.
No, they take a very long time to get over here. What was Palm Springs was a Neon film, and that didn't come out for like another.
Well, I can tell you
6
one that
months.
just came out here that was put out by them in America. It was a David Arquette movie. Was a Neon.
Oh yeah, that only just released on Stan like a month ago. But they got Parasite out everywhere first, so I guess
They didn't publish it here though.
didn't they?
They
Oh
didn't.
no, that was Madman.
It was Madman. So it just depends if Madman.
Well, I mean, they don't publish here in Australia, so
No, that's what I'm saying. So they have to have someone.
so
They either
they
sell it or
distribute
they
it.
have to pitch it, or someone else has to come to them to distribute it. So because they don't distribute it in Australia, we have to wait for someone to
hurry up, somebody. I
pick
think
the movie up.
Madman seems like a good fit for this crazy Pig movie. All right, let's move into this week's top 3.
Definitely in the top 3.
So before the next episode releases, the 2021 Primetime Emmy Award nominations will be out. So I figured now would be a good time to put together our list of top 3 Emmy nominations we hope for. So I haven't discussed too much about the parameters of this list with Dylan. All I said was, just things that we kind of hope happen. Not necessarily things we definitely want to win. Win Emmys at the Emmys. But things we'd like to see get recognized that maybe won't get recognized. So Dylan, what have you got for your number 3?
Supporting actress Catherine Hahn, WandaVision.
Okay.
Well, I mean, it's come on. Doesn't need an explanation. Everyone's watched WandaVision. Catherine Hahn's the standout of that show. I feel like if anyone's going to get awards, that would be the main cast. Although I feel like without her in that role, I really do feel like the bigger picture, that show kind of falls apart a bit. Like you can't. She is the glue. I feel in the scheme of things for that show, doing what she does throughout it and being quite funny and obviously. Without spoilers, like where she ends up at the end of that if you haven't watched WandaVision. So I would love to see her get recognized for that. I guess it would be best supporting actress in a limited series.
Limited series,
yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I'd love that for her, and it would be an award for WandaVision as well. So I feel like I'd love to see some WandaVision love, and that's one I would love to see.
Cool. Absolutely. So my number 3. I've picked some interesting categories for this as well. Number 3 for non-fiction or documentary series, The Circus. Obviously airs here in Australia on Stan, but is on Showtime in America. A documentary series following closely the political road to the presidency this 5th season. I don't believe it's gotten any Emmy love before, but yeah, obviously if there was any season to top it off, it's this crazy season leading up to the election of Joe Biden and the eventual defeat of Donald Trump. I think obviously a very riveting show to watch during this time period, especially from the safety of Australia, where we don't have to feel the most terrible ramifications of the things that were happening in America. I really enjoyed obviously everything that kind of led up to Joe Biden's eventual inauguration. So I think I'd love The Circus to get some love this year. Dylan, what's your number 2?
I couldn't decide which category I think I would want this in, but so I have Small Axe, and I'm like, would I put Small Axe down as limited series or would I be saying a particular episode is winning for movie? You know, like
I feel like they're putting themselves up for limited series from memory.
are they? Okay, well then yes, I would love to see Small Axe win for a limited series. I don't remember if I got to talk much about it because I watched it like right at the end of last year or whenever it was, but I think I watched it after we did our stuff as well, actually. And then I said, yeah, no, I did, because I remember tweeting out, like, if I'd watched this, it would have ended it. Yeah, so Small Axe would have been on my top 10 TV shows if I'd watched it prior to doing my personal list, and I would have definitely put it in for our nominations and stuff. But yeah, Small Axe is 5. I'll just read the IMDb fucking description. I got it open. Small Axe is based on the real life experiences of London's West Indian community. It's set between 1969 and 1982. So it's got 5 episodes. Each are completely separate from one another. There's no crossing over characters or like an interweaving plot or anything like that. They're just very much their own things. Mangrove is the season that kicks it off is the longest one. That's a 2 hour, 7-minute episode. So very much a full length movie. The plot's somewhat similar, I guess, to the trial of the Chicago 7. That's what you can most compare it to, because it is about, you know, people trying to stand up, this community trying to stand up for themselves. They do a protest, they clash with police, they end up having to be on trial. So it has like 2 sections to it. It's got this really great cast. All these episodes are directed by Steve McQueen as well. That's the other big factor. It was his thing, the director of 12 Years a Slave and Widows and whatever else I'm fucking forgetting at this stage, but 12 Years a Slave is obviously the most famous one. And then the other episodes are also very famous. My favorite is actually episode 2. It's an episode called Lovers Rock. It's only an hour 10. It's like this, like, it's just one night where these people they've come to a house and they're just there for a party. There's no big overarching plot. There's no big like thing to overcome. It's very much just feels like you're just a camera, like a fly on the wall to a degree, and you're just watching these people throughout the night intermingle with one another. There's these really cool dance scenes, like where the camera sort of just floats around while the music's playing and all this sort of stuff. I loved it. I know a lot of people are like, it's so fucking boring, but it's actually my favorite episode of the show. And then the rest of them are just as fantastic. Not to go over them all, but yeah, I have my favorites. But overall, as a show, as 5 episodes, it is definitely one of the best things that came out last year, and definitely would have been on my top 10 TV shows list, and definitely deserves some Emmy love.
Okay, yeah. My number 2, Mythic Quest, best comedy series. But honestly, I would just love to see it get nominated pretty much anywhere. Obviously, Rob McElhenney as lead, or Charlotte Niccardo as best lead actress in a comedy, or any of the supporting cast members. I think would be great to see them get some love, or just like a best episode kind of like screenplay or a directing nomination. Just anything for Mythic Quest, I feel like would be a nice touch. I think it would be nominated for the 2nd season. So yeah, anything from Mythic Quest getting a little bit of Oscar love, Emmy love. Completely shut out last year, but I think without without Schitt's Creek being so dominant, maybe there's a little bit of room for this the other Apple TV comedy.
I was gonna say, how about Ted Lasso is gonna like overshadow?
I think that's a shoe-in. I think I didn't put it on my list because I think it is a shoe-in to get it. Yeah. So Dylan, what's your number 1? How is it Rhea Seehorn, even though Better Call Saul didn't release seasons this year?
I did not pick anything Better Call Saul because obviously I had to pick realistic things, and there was no Better Call Saul last year, so no. Or if there was, Rhea Seehorn winning an Emmy would have been my number 1 pick. Yes. Next year, if we do this segment, that'll be my number 1. My number 1 for this year is Dark Season 3, getting some Emmy love fucking anywhere. I don't even care. It's not going to happen. It's not a show that's ever been considered. It's nowhere near as popular. It's not in those circles. It's a foreign language show, so obviously that's sort of like already like, oh, fucking
plays against it, yeah.
But yeah, as obviously I've talked a lot about Dark. I've talked a lot about Dark Season 3 as well. I think it's just this fantastic 3-season show. The last season was amazing. The final episode of Dark Season 3 is just one of the best finales to any TV show I've ever watched, as far as just wrapping up a show that's so complicated with so many characters and so many just when you have anything to do with time travel, it just gets absolutely topsy-turvy. And the way they managed to bring this show all together with this really emotional finale, I think it's one of the best episodes of TV I've ever watched. Definitely like one of the best finales I've ever watched, and was, Dark Season 3 is one of my favorite things straight up last year as a whole, those 8 episodes. So I would love to see it win. Best drama series, I guess, would be my dream pick there. But yeah, or even best writing for the Paradise, which is the finale episode. So yeah, that would be my number one dream Emmy love pick for Dark.
Okay. My number one, Invincible for best animated series. I feel like
has that released within the cutoff? Like, because
I think recent? The cutoff is 31st of May from memory.
Okay.
This is obviously very recent. But the animation, I feel like the animated series category generally is very much family friendly. Like very almost sitcom-esque TV shows for that category, and Invincible is definitely not a sitcom. It's definitely violent and over the top, but also has a lot of heart and tells a great story over its season. So yeah, that I think is a very, very, very much a long shot. But I'd love to see Invincible get some Emmy love. Even if it's just so they show a clip from that last episode somehow. Like,
I don't think that's going to happen, but yeah.
Really great. All right. Well, that brings us to the end of this episode of What Do You Want to Watch? Let us know on Twitter what you want to see get nominated at this year's Emmy Awards. Let us know by going to explosion.com/Twitter. You can find all of our Twitter handles there. Or you can jump into our Discord, explosion.com/Discord. If you want to help us out, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or on Podchaser. Or just tweet about the show. Let people know about What Do You Want to Watch? All the stuff we do here on this podcast feed. All the regular episodes and all the spoiler casts. If you want to help us out here at the Explosion Network, you like this episode, those with $1, head on over to our Ko-fi page at explosionnetwork.com/support and buy us a coffee. Every little bit of money helps keep the lights on here at the Explosion Network in our individual houses while we're recording. So when we're doing video stuff, you can actually see our faces. That's what all the money's going towards, electricity bills. Thank you very much for listening. Until next time, keep watching stuff, I guess.